Hello and good evening. Today it's Monday, June 13th, 2022. And for this video today, for the first time in a long time here on my channel, I will be doing yet another episode of a little program that I do here on the channel called the Prototype Files, where I look at prototype jersey designs and I discuss them in my videos. So before I get into this, first off, as I always say before any of these videos, well, something similar. I'll try to be quick though. In professional sports, whenever teams redesign their home and away jerseys, or they introduce new logos, or both, or they add a new alternate jersey, or even a special event jersey, like for example, an NHL Winter Classic jersey, teams will usually go through a myriad of different prototype jerseys before they unveil the final product to the public as the design that they ultimately go with. So today we are going to go back to 2009. You may just be surprised, but yes, today I will be discussing a prototype jersey that has recently surfaced on the internet that was created for, believe it or not, the Detroit Red Wings for the 2009 Winter Classic. And truth is, I gotta be honest, I think that this prototype is one of the coolest prototypes I have seen, maybe ever. Maybe it's just because I love the design so much, but I'll get to that shortly. But anyway, before that though, quick shout out to the Chicago Blackhawks, because this is one of my favorite uniforms of all time. Even though I agree with my one viewer, Windy City Hockey, that the 2000s black jersey would be a great jersey to bring back, I love this jersey, and I hope that at some point in the future, the Blackhawks will bring it back out of the vault. But anyway, that's not why we are here. We are here to discuss a prototype jersey for the Detroit Red Wings that was almost used instead of this beautiful Detroit Cougars throwback uniform. So in the 2009 Winter Classic, Detroit wore this absolutely gorgeous Detroit Cougars throwback uniform. White numbers on the red chest stripe, the English style letter D, and the beautiful design top to bottom that even included the Detroit Red Wings iconic beautiful logo on the shoulders of this design. Now, what I'm about to show you is a prototype jersey that was almost used instead of this design here for the Detroit Red Wings. So here it is. Your eyes do not deceive you. The Detroit Red Wings almost brought back the exact same Detroit Cougars uniform that in fact they actually wore 18 years earlier back in the 1991-92 season as part of the National Hockey League's 75th anniversary. Now, this design is one of the coolest prototypes I have ever seen. Now, here's another photo. This shows you that this is a prototype back to August 2008. Now, why is it spelled AOUT? Because obviously, from my observation, this design prototype must have been made in Quebec, because AOUT is actually the French spelling of the month August, which is pronounced like this. It's pronounced as OU. And, well, good thing I took some French classes in high school, eh? But it's actually that's actually pronounced as OU, and it's missing, I believe, what's called an accent aigu. But anyway, that's completely, I know that's kind of random, but I thought I'd mention that. I couldn't resist. So there's the inside neckline as well. And there is the front photo of this prototype jersey. Now notice one thing in particular that caught my eye as well, the lace-up collar. Now obviously, back when the Red Wings wore both this design and the Cougars design from, I believe, 1926, that was actually worn in the 2009 Winter Classic. Obviously, both of them had rounded collars, turtleneck collars back in the day. But this design here was going to be used instead of the 09 Winter Classic, or sorry, it was considered by the Red Wings to be brought back to be used against that, in that outdoor game against Chicago, instead of what they actually went with. So what I'll show you is something that I really would like to show you real quick. This, see that prototype here, and here, I'll just pull this up. Oh, come on, computer. Okay, I'll just have to click it, whatever. This design here is obviously the exact same as this, the design that they wore, the Detroit Cougars throwback that the Detroit Red Wings wore, as I said earlier, in the 75th anniversary season back in the 1991-92 season, rather. So this is what the design looked like when Detroit pulled it out of the vault back in 1991. The beautiful word mark on the front, the barber pole striping on the front, and also, here's the back of this jersey as well. It would have had white numbers on the back and even white letters with red trim on the back as well. This is actually a front and back set of pair of photos from a Johan Garpenlov game-worn turn back the clock sweater. So this Detroit Red Wings throwback here was part of the original 6 teams special turn back the clock program that they did with the NHL to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the NHL by having all original 6 teams in the NHL, each sporting a special throwback such as the one you see here on top of their home and away jerseys. In fact, that was the very first time in NHL history that there was some kind of third jersey program. And from what I remember hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me, but I remember hearing that the turn back the clock sweater program the NHL and the original 6 teams took part in the 91-92 season was so popular that it actually served as the catalyst for the eventual launch of the permanent third jersey program we have had since the 1995-96 season, which resulted in some highly experimental and even some downright horrible designs like the Burger King jersey and the Wild Wing one, even though I have to make a confession, I really enjoyed seeing the white reverse retro of that design last season. And my favorite jersey of the bunch from the 95-96 season first run of alternate jerseys was the Vancouver Canucks red gradient jersey. I've always enjoyed that design, and I've always loved using that jersey when I play the NHL games. I still do from time to time, even to this day. Now, speaking of NHL video games, one thing I love about this design, it brings me back some nostalgia from when I was a kid, because me and my dad a lot of times used this design, whether he was playing against me wearing this design or I was using this design playing him. This design got used a lot. And I've even played games against my friends where they, for whatever reason, seem to pull this jersey out. And I think it's because this is an awesome design. Or they wouldn't have chose it, even though I will admit I have chose some ugly jerseys over the years for fun too. But yeah, so the fact that Detroit actually almost considered bringing this Detroit Cougars design, which actually the 2009 Winter Classic throwback was actually worn before this design. This design came after, in 1927, I believe, after that one that they actually wore in the 09 Winter Classic, which really fascinates me because you would think it would be the other way around, where, you know, the 30s were late 20s or the 1930s would come along and, you know, instead of all this crazy barber pole, they'd decide to tone it down. Actually, it was the opposite. The Detroit Red Wings went from the 09 Winter Classic Detroit Cougars throwback design to this one by the end of the 1920s. But truth is, now, which design would I have preferred to see? Which design do I think is better? And there's a photo of what this design would have looked like for the most part if it was brought back for the 2009 Winter Classic. Head to toe, beautiful jersey design and uniform design. In fact, truth is, this is what I really wanted Detroit to wear for the 2017 Centennial Classic against Toronto, wearing their arenas throwbacks that actually were brought out a season later in the 2017-18 season. instead of what we got, even though I absolutely love the Centennial Classic uniform that Toronto came up with. And Detroit's was okay, but the one silver stripe on each sleeve, I did not like that at all. Even though top to bottom, it wasn't the worst uniform I've ever seen, but I wanted the 2017 Centennial Classic matchup to be between the Red Wings Cougars throwback you see here and Toronto's Arenas design from 1917. The one that they wore in the 2017-18 season. Now, if I were to choose which design I would have preferred to see, truth is, I'm glad that Detroit went with this design instead of the 91-92 turn back the clock design. Well, that was the, I think 1927, 26, 27. Actually, why don't I quickly look that up while I'm here doing this video anyway. So, the 2009 Winter Classic sweater was a throwback to the 1926-27 season Cougars uniform, where the turn back the clock sweater from 1991 from the 91-92 season was actually from a season later from the 1927-28 season. I just thought I'd take a moment to clarify that because it is an interesting little detail in Red Wings, well, I guess Red Wings history, because the Cougars did eventually become the Red Wings. But, you know, looking at the jersey matchup and this design and the fact that until this Winter Classic, we had not yet seen the Red Wings bring this design out of the vault. I think that Detroit made the right call, scrapping the I'll call it the 91-92 turn back the clock design in favor of this one. And truth is, you know, you look at the uniform matchup, even though I guarantee and I know for a fact that the 91-92 season turn back the clock sweater would have looked amazing in this photo here too, I'm glad that Detroit kept it simple with that design's predecessor that you see the Red Wings threw back to here in the 09 Winter Classic. But another little thing that I will mention about this prototype you see here, there's one little detail that is also why I'm glad that Detroit went with what they went with instead of this design here. And that would be this, the collar style. It was not until the 2016 Winter Classic between the Montreal Canadiens and the Boston Bruins that we saw Reebok at the time introduce a rounded collar option. If Detroit ever ends up bringing this design back, which I hope that day eventually comes, to be honest, I love this uniform. And if you do happen to own a team-issued or even beyond that, a game-worn turn-back-the-clock sweater, not only is it super, super rare, but I am super, super jealous. I would love to eventually own one of these, even if it's a replica at some point. I've always loved this design. But yes, the collar style. If the Red Wings ever bring this design back, I would love to see this design come back with a rounded collar. Even the Adidas rounded collar would look great with this design, in my opinion. Where even though, you know, even though the lace-up collar design you see with this prototype here would have looked totally fine, in my opinion, it just would not have been as nice. Where the lace-up collar suits the 09 Winter Classic uniform perfectly, in my opinion. Where this one here, I almost feel that the rounded collar would actually be better because I just feel like that rounded collar would give it more of that throwback touch, in my opinion. Even though, you know, I'm sure most people wouldn't care about the collar style. In my opinion, I'm glad that they avoided this design for two reasons. Number one, I'm so glad that we finally got to see in the modern era that 1925-26 season Cougars design finally come out of the vault. Number two, since the rounded collar option wasn't available until 7 years later in 2016 for that Winter Classic, I'm glad that Detroit did not bring this design back with a lace-up collar. I just feel that the rounded collar just suits this design so much better than a lace-up collar, even though I would have been head over heels happy with this design if it was worn, even with a lace-up collar. It looks great. But as I say that, though, you know, I think it'd look even that much better with a rounded collar if they do bring it back. That's my opinion. I don't expect everyone to agree. But anyways, folks, I'm going to keep this video relatively short and call it a wrap at this point. I hope that you have found this enjoyable and worth your time. I can't believe that this prototype even exists. I can't believe that this has recently surfaced on the internet. I think it's amazing. But yeah, when I saw this, I had to do a video about it. It just blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. And this is one of the coolest prototypes I have seen. But if you want to know what the coolest prototype I've ever seen is, at least in my opinion, it was a recently surfaced Dallas North Stars throwback prototype that I actually did do a video about in case you were wanting to see what that prototype looked like. Actually, you know what? Let's see if I can quickly pull it up here before I end this video, just so that you don't have to go and find it. You know, just in case you don't want to sit down and watch the video, I'll quickly pull it up for you. Apologize if it might take a second for me to pull it up, but do bear with me. If you want to see what it looks like, I don't think you'll be disappointed by having me make you wait. Geez, where the hell did I have it on here? Sorry, guys. Here, just in case you don't want to watch another video, this, in my opinion, may just be the coolest prototype I've ever seen. This is the Dallas North Stars prototype uniform that I was just referring to. Also, I did do a video about it if you do want to sit down and watch it, but if you don't, here, at least here, I'm giving you the opportunity to see this before I wrap up this video. So, yeah, that was so cool, seeing that Red Wings prototype from the 09 Winter Classic. I thought I had to absolutely do a video about it for sure. So, with that, guys, I thought that's a wrap for this video. I hope you have enjoyed it if you've sat down and watched it all the way through. And until my next video, you guys, take care. And as always, bye for now.